Elections. Today is July the 13th, 2021. Bill, we're going to stand. Bill, can you lead us in the pledge, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And I'd also like to indicate that proper notice has been given as required by our Ohio Revised Code 121.22. And we're going to begin next, and we have a very short agenda. We're going to start with approval of our board meeting minutes from June the 7th and June the 17th of 2021. Everyone should have had an opportunity by now to review those minutes. Are there any changes or modifications of those minutes?
Madam Chair,
Yes?
I had sent in an email with one minor correction. That was at the end of the minutes for the 17th, where it says Mr. Triantafilu made a motion to adjourn, and I believe that was a meeting that he was excused, and he recused himself.
That's correct.
Is that correct?
Well, he was at the meeting, and he was not at the meeting at all, but he recused himself from the issue.
That's it.
Yeah, and he did not,
That's correct.
and he was not present, was he?
Did he come back to,
He stayed, not leaving the room.
No, I think his name's the 17th.
Yeah, the 17th.
Oh, is that the one where we had?
So the 17th, he
Right.
was
Yes.
absent,
Yes.
yes.
okay.
Yeah, I apologize, because if you look at the transcript, he wasn't present, so I apologize. It should have been that Mr. Gerhart made the motion? Okay. I
Yeah.
apologize. I'll revise the minutes for signature.
Thank you. Thank you for it.
Well, and I'll second that revision.
Okay.
I take that as a motion. Madam
So
Chair-
has a motion been made with the approved changes?
Not yet. Madam Chair, with that amendment, I move that we accept the minutes for the 7th and the 17th.
Second.
With the approved changes?
Correct.
Thank you. Okay, any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone abstaining? That motion carries. Thank you very much. And I'd just like to say thank you. It's good to see everyone here today. We're sitting back in our particular positions again, so just for the record, for those that may be watching our meeting this morning, let's just have everyone reintroduce themselves, and we'll start down here at this end, please.
I'm Dave Stevenson, I'm with the prosecutor's
Oh.
office.
Chuck Eckert, Administrator of the Registration Department.
Chip Gerhart, member of the Hamilton County Board of Elections.
Alex Linzer, I'm the Deputy Director.
Joe Mallory, board member, Hamilton County Board of Elections.
Deputy Greg, the Secretary.
Thank you. And Gwen McFarland, Chair of the Hamilton County Board of Election, and it's welcome back into our particular positions at the seats again. So next is a discussion regarding a full-time, we have a full-time staff that's been appointed. And Mr. Linzer, can you kind of give us an update on who that person is, and is he or she in the meeting this morning?
Yeah, good morning, Madam Chair, thank you. Our Deputy Director is out of the office this morning. I'm told this is actually the first board meeting she has ever missed.
Oh, my
I'm
goodness.
sorry, I'm the Deputy Director. Our Director, I gave myself a promotion. Our Director is out of the office, so standing in for her today is our Administrator, Chuck Eckert, who's going to present this item to the board.
Thank you.
Thank you, Alex. We had a Republican opening in the absentee voting and precinct election official department, and we recommend that the board appoints Stacy Moore as precinct election official coordinator.
Okay.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I move the appointment of Stacy Moore to precinct election official coordinator for the absentee voting and precinct election official department.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, that motion's been made and second. Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone abstaining? That motion passes. And is Stacy Moore in the house or in the building? Yes, Stacy, welcome. Welcome to the Hamilton County Board of Election. I've heard reports that you're doing fantastically well, and we are so proud to have you with us. Thank you. Thank you again for being here.
Yeah, welcome aboard.
Yes, welcome aboard, Stacy.
All right. It's always good to see eager people who want to be involved here. Next on our agenda is discussion of the parental leave policy that's up for discussion and approval. Mr. Linzer, can you give us an update on that policy, please?
Yes, in June, the Board of County Commissioners approved a new parental leave policy for Hamilton County departments. The parental leave policy gives 8 weeks of paid leave upon the birth or adoption of a child to the father or the mother. It can be used twice during someone's tenure with the county. Paid leave is, beneficial for a couple of reasons. Number one, it has benefits for maternal health outcomes and baby health outcomes. It's also nice, from a fundamental standpoint for our employees who don't have to choose between a paycheck and taking time off to bond with their new child. So we have reviewed the county commissioner's policy. Ray, our human resources officer, made revisions to our personnel manual, which are in front of you with the red line, to show how we can incorporate the same policy into the Board of Elections policy. It's our recommendation that the Board of Elections policy should match what the rest of the county is doing, and so staff recommends approval.
Very good. Okay. Any discussion? I think it's good. I looked at this, and, we always have to remember as our universe changes that a lot of people are able to come to work that perhaps weren't able to before, and especially the younger population. And I'm always reminding folks about policies to review and look at it so that it's applicable across the table for all of our staff. And I think it is the right thing to do, and I do believe since it has been reviewed and Ray has inserted some changes that make it compliant and match the policy and the recommendations from the Hamilton County Board of Commissions, I think it's a win-win for us here at the board, for our staff. Any other discussion? No?
Madam Chair, I move that we adopt this parental leave policy, which is consistent with the balance of Hamilton County government.
Second.
Okay, any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Anyone abstaining? That motion carries. Thank you very much. Next, Mr. Linzer, can you give us an update on the Support to Kids voting?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. Kids Voting is a national organization with an Ohio chapter that promotes civic engagement among high school students to try to promote good voting habits and participation in local government at an early age. In its June meeting, the Ohio Association of Elections Officials voted to support Kids Voting Ohio. And they've asked us to make a motion to support the mission of Kids Voting Ohio as well. There is no financial obligation on the part of the board. The board would essentially be agreeing to stand ready as a resource for the Kids Voting program to help with high school visits and field trips and things like that to help educate students about the voting process, which is something that this board has already made a priority, and we regularly do pretty much anyway. However, this would sort of formalize that relationship.
I went on the website. I was so amazed at the outreach that can be done to engage our youth, into the voting process. And you're absolutely correct. We, as the Hamilton County Board of Election, has been doing some of that, for example, with the Girl Scouts and Boy Scouts and other community resources. And when you look at those juniors and seniors, sophomores who are beginning to approach 18, if they've had that basic fundamental foundation of understanding what voting is all about and the voting process, it certainly helps them as they move towards becoming voters in the future. So this is, I think, is a great thing. And when I looked as well at all of the organizations that's involved. It's just, it seems like it's just something that is the right thing for us to do as well.
Madam Chair, I agree. Kids voting actually was operational years ago when I was working at the board, and they would have booths set up for the kids when the kids came in to vote. These were elementary age children, and this program is for civic education for grades 3 through 12. So I think it's a great idea because civic engagement is kind of not what it once was, and I think it's a great opportunity to reinstitute this program.
Okay. Any more discussion? So I need a motion?
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I move to adopt the motion to support the mission and purpose of Kids Voting Ohio.
Second.
Okay, any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone abstaining? That motion carries. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Any more?
We have just a few updates from staff that I'd like to give for you.
Thank you.
As for the update that we are eagerly awaiting to our HART election equipment, the upgrade was previously scheduled to be approved by the Board of Voting Machine Examiners in June. That was delayed. We are waiting on a new hearing date to hear when that upgrade will be heard again for approval. We have, talked internally with staff, and we can do the upgrade in time as long as we get word by sort of early, mid-August. If we don't hear back from the Secretary of State before then we'll have to push the upgrade back to the next election. So it's one of those things that it would be nice to have before November, because the upgrade does include some things that make it a little easier to lay out a ballot, especially a ballot with a lot of contests on it, which we will have in these municipal elections. But I know our operations department will muddle through one way or the other, and they'll get the job done. So we're just waiting on a hearing date to be set. We haven't heard anything since our last meeting.
Thanks for that update, because I was wondering where we were with that process, and do we know what the delay is related to?
The Board of Voting Machine Examiners added a new sort of element to the approval matrix to require companies that provide these types of machines to prove that the machine cannot be connected to the internet. Now, in our case, the hard equipment that we have does not even have the sort of technological hardware necessary to connect to the internet, but they needed to resubmit their application showing that they've had testing done to prove that it cannot be. So they have done that, and we're just waiting on a response from the Board of Voting Machine Examiners to set a new hearing date.
Thank you. So we'll look forward to an update at our next month's meeting, possibly?
Let's hope so.
Yes. Okay.
Second on my report, at the board's two meetings previous to this one, the board approved a couple of new precinct realignments based on some annexations and population changes.
Yes.
Those were pending approval by the Secretary of State. That approval has come through. So those precinct realignments are good to go. Number 3, you'll see an updated organizational chart in your board packet. It just reflects that the appointment of Ms. Moore, and we've had a couple of folks move around because of some retirements and some shifts internally. Number 4 on my list, we've mailed out our PEO surveys requesting folks to come back to serve as election officials with this election. One thing that's new this year is we did get approval from the county administration to include a $50 incentive payment to those precinct election officials who worked during elections during the COVID-19 pandemic. As a way, we had a lot of new folks step up. A lot of our usual poll workers, were not able to participate during the pandemic, and so we had, The staff did a phenomenal job recruiting several new poll workers, and we want to make sure that those people stay engaged and come back year over year. So we were able to use the county's American Rescue Plan funds to offer a $50 incentive payment for those who want to come back and be precinct election officials again. So those went out on Friday, and we expect to hear back from folks soon.
That is fantastic. That's, again, a wonderful way to recruit and retain, and also look, those individuals can be potential workers here on a full-time basis as well, as many organizations such as ours are transitioning, and a lot of individuals are either going part-time or retiring. So I think it's a wonderful way to also recruit and bring in some great people, as well as to look at opportunities for them with further employment. Okay. Do you have, yes,
I have a few more.
good.
Our next board meeting was originally scheduled for August the 2nd. The reason that was set up that way was because we were anticipating a special election in August. Since there has been no special election, staff's recommending that we move that meeting to August 10th, the next week. The reason for our suggestion is the deadline for most municipalities for folks to file to run for local office is August 4th. And so if the board convenes on August 10th, we'll be able to present most of those petitions to the board to have them put on the ballot, which will give our staff a head start of getting the ballot ready for November.
Fantastic. For some reason, maybe I had a premonition you were going to bring this up today, and I already have it on August the 10th. So that's great. All right.
Well, I think we'll need a.
Do we need a vote?
motion.
Let's to be on the safe side, need a vote to modify to change that voting date from what was initially sometime given to back to August the 10th, 2021, Board of Election meeting at 8:30 in the morning.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I move that we set the meeting for the August Board of Elections meeting for August the 10th at 8:30 a.m.
Second.
Any more discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Anyone abstaining? That motion carries.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Lastly, I just would like to point out some new artwork you may have noticed on your way into the chambers today. On the right, as you're walking into the chambers, there's a new painting of Betsy Ross sewing the American flag. That was donated to us by my predecessor, our former Deputy Director, Sally Crissell, who found it at the estate sale of a local physician and had it framed, and it looks very nice.
My goodness.
And so you want to check that out on your way out. And then on the left, as you're walking into the building, is a shadow box of notes and pictures and social media posts relating to the 2020 presidential election. I want to thank our digital communications manager, Umair Savani, for putting that together. The pandemic exposed a lot of negative things, but there were positives too, and it's very heartwarming to stand in front of that shadow box and read some of the things that people said about our staff, about their experience voting during the 2020 election. You can see that, people had real anxiety, and they were worried for our staff. But every one of those notes reflects, a sense of gratitude that they were able to come in and do their civic duty and vote. And so it's a real piece of history. And so that is also hanging on the, next to the doors as you walk into the chamber for everyone to come see.
I am excited. I just breezed in this morning and came straight into basically this meeting, except for stopping at your office for a second, but you better believe I will not breeze out. I'm going to look at those items. That is something to be proud of. And I'm a history buff as well. Research and history buff, that's my thing. So I just want to thank the creativity of the staff that we have here that can create those types of shadow boxes and Sally, we know Sally Crystal is a historian as well, and just a piece of positive image as you walk in that door about what we do here at the board is so critical. Thank you.
Yeah, I'd like to thank Sally Crystal as well for such a great find with this piece of art, and I'm sure she'll be shocked to find that she's on the right and not to the left.
Madam Chair, that concludes my report.
Fantastic report for your first time. Second meeting, you did a fantastic job. I have a question. Have we finalized yet the polling locations for November? And when do we hope to have that done?
Our Election Supplies and Support Department did just complete an ADA review of all 306 polling locations. There are 2 that we're going to need to replace, so we are waiting on that. But other than that, it should be pretty much the same polling locations as last time.
Okay.
And I don't see Shirley in the room, so I'll just leave it there.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else have anything to discuss this morning? Seeing, did you say something?
No.
Okay. Hearing none, I'd like to entertain a motion to adjourn, reminding everyone that our next meeting is August the 10th, 2021 at 8:30.
I so moved. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone abstaining? That the motion carries, and our meeting is adjourned at approximately, it looks like about 8:55. Thank you, everyone.